Okay. Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime. Tony, I can't get any of my things to work. So I can't hear you, and I can't hear the show right now. So I apologize to everyone here. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you. Quite literally, I walked in with my, not these are my old ones that apparently don't work and don't connect to my computer anymore. I walked in from walking the dog, took out my AirPods, set them down, and I cannot find them. They have disappeared into the universe. They're gone. I tried to plug this in. That doesn't work. Tried to put these in. The timer was ticking. I was running around like a crazy man. These don't work either. So, sorry.
We can get it.
I know we have a special guest, Tavoy, in studio, and if you'd like, I might just jump out, let you chat to him a minute, and go try and find those earphones and come back to you. I think that might be the best way for everyone who's watching. So,
absolutely,
I'm going to skip out for a second and go ahead and chat up Tavoy, and I'll be right back as soon as I can. Thanks.
Absolutely, you got it. All right. So with that, we're going to go ahead and welcome on, because we do have tonight on the show special guest Tavoy Morgan, who's waiting in the wings here, and we're going to go ahead and have him on as Craig makes his way back on. Mr. Tavoy, how are you today?
Good. Good night. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm doing good.
Absolutely, Tavoy, and let me tell you, I really appreciate you making the time tonight, because with everything happening with training and game tomorrow, in the middle of the season, it's never the easiest thing for you to make time. So we definitely appreciate you, and the fans appreciate you here who are watching.
Yeah, for sure. I love watching the Soccer Overtime, so I got to make a little time for it, as always.
I love it. And you just walk me through and just kind of how you've been feeling this early season. Obviously getting some goals in, netting some bangers. What's it been like so far in the Front Wave Arena?
So far, I'm excited. for the new arena. Honestly, we have a little banged up. As you can see, my hand, and before I got my hamstring. So I'm just taking it easy day by day, game by game, and looking forward for the season, for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. And look, it's been a hard fought season. You've played against Tacoma twice now. First game was a little rough. The second game was a little bit different this last Friday, breaking away late with that win. What does that kind of put you in that space and the team moving and getting that win back from Tacoma, up in Tacoma?
Yeah, for sure. The first game was, was rough. And then, we build on, get a rhythm and go back there and we get the result we needed. So it just make us more focused and we get in a rhythm now. So we just focusing on that and take it game by game.
Absolutely. And we'll see if I got our buddy from friend Craig back on here. How are you, Craig? You good to go?
Look what I found. Look what I found.
It happens like that. These are the new socks. Like socks used to go missing in laundry, and now it's AirPods and headphone gear.
I'm not happy. Hi, Tavoy. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, man. Sorry I was a minute late.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, what's going on with that thumb? Did Tavoy or did Tony already ask you?
It's my wrist broken.
Toughing
And
it
you're
out.
playing with it. You don't need it on the floor. You just need your feet, right?
Yeah. I mean, I need it, but I don't need it to shoot the ball.
Your teammate Gabi Costa had a broken wrist last year. Did I don't know? Maybe you can ask him for a couple of tips.
I mean, he's the one who make it happen. So the ball that he shoot in the game, I hold my hand and
Gabi Costa
Now I
making
know
it
when it.
happen.
Now I remember. Now I remember the exact play. Now that you say it, holy cow, man!
yeah, that was the play.
The dangers of being a professional athlete, my friend. You're stuck in the middle of it. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about last weekend's game. Going up to Tacoma, avenging your only loss of the season. Final score 9-5 looks really good, but it looked like you guys needed to kind of put it together in that second half when Tacoma made a run.
Yeah, we know what it was going to be like in the first quarter, second quarter, and going into the half, we know we have to take care of business. Can't make what happened in the first game when we went there happen again. So we just stick to her game plan, and we're happy for the victory.
Absolutely. And you were talking about this hard fought match, and you're coming off of a great performance too here at home against Chihuahua. You netted 4 goals in that match. What is the importance of having that victory against Chihuahua? Some arduous rivals here.
That victory always means a lot. The victory is going to always motivate you to just go on and keep winning and winning and just take every team like that champion team. And the result going to show. And that's what we.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it was such a big game, such an important statement for you guys. And it's a little different though this year, isn't it, Tavoy, with the single table, with the fact that the first 2 rounds are going to be single elimination. They're going to be at Front Wave Arena. Do you keep the same eye on a team like Chihuahua that you did last year, or do you kind of have to spread it around to everybody?
For sure, we're always going to keep our eye on Chihuahua because we're in the same conference. So we're going to always meet them either way. So it's not a surprise. We just got to always stay ready for them.
Absolutely. And then what are the thoughts about, you've had these performances, you had a great one against Chihuahua, we already mentioned, but any thoughts on potentially, now being left behind from the All-Star game?
Not really. I'm just focusing on the team and game by game and just try to get the win every game and get better as a team and get the rhythm going. So once we have that, we're gonna be all right.
Love it.
The selflessness, Tavoy. I appreciate that. I think you should have been a commissioner's pick. I don't know if you and the commissioner are on the very best of terms, but I think you should have been a commissioner's pick. One of your fellow teammates is Luis Morales. Of course, he's been away. And while he's been away, Tavoy's been playing like 4 goals, cup 2 goals. You've had some really big games. I'm just curious, though. I'm sure you are excited to be a 1-2 punch. What's it going to take? And I know Louise is a little under the weather right now, but like, what's it going to take to get both you guys clicking same time?
It's gonna start from in practice from me and him just click at the same time. We both play different, so we just have to just continue working on it, and I'm sure it's gonna happen. He been away, so it wasn't really working on anything right now. But from now going forward, we're gonna work on stuff and get that rhythm for the whole team with me and him on the field at the same time, and other players too, because we have other new guys who still learning the game. So we just have to let them know, like, pass the ball to Tavoy, run off him, and so we still getting there.
Absolutely. I mean, Luisito had a couple of goals that were very important, some moments important at Front Wave Arena. You've had some important moments at Front Wave Arena. What is it like playing in this brand new stage? Everything just smells so new still. And do you have any thoughts about playing in Oceanside as well, and just what it's been like this season for you?
Honestly, it's just been excited. Every time I go to the arena, I'm just excited. I'm all pumped up, ready, cause new fans and the old fans mix. So I just always want to score to dance for them, do something to just put a smile on their face, and just have them keep coming back and going out in the community and do good and have them coming out supporting us. And we want to give them the victory, the championship, and that's the goal.
Well, Tavoy, I know we brought you on a little early in the show because you've got to get down to Front Wave Arena. You guys have a practice out on the floor tonight. And of course, you have a match tomorrow night, 7:35. Kansas City's coming to town, one of the very best teams in the league, a team that was a finalist last year, losing to Chihuahua in the Ron Newman Cup finals. They are a tough team. They came to town and beat you guys last year. What are you seeing? What have you been seeing on film? What have you been working on in terms of taking on the Mighty Comets?
Coach, doing his job and he's giving us in practice. So that's what we've been working on yesterday, and we're going to work on later on in practice. So, you know, and we already, we know they beat us last season, so we are ready to show them, same like we did to Chihuahua. But we want to give them a really good performance and come out with a victory.
Well, it's a big week, my friend. Wednesday night, Friday night. Don't break anything else. Other than maybe the back of the net. The back of the net is completely fine. Maybe that ribbon board on a couple high shots, that's cool too. But no matter what, it is always great to see your smiling face. It's great to have you on the show, our first player guest of the season here on Soccer's Overtime. And we'll see you out at Front Wave Arena tomorrow night.
Yeah, thanks, man. Always a pleasure to be on the show. Always watching it. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Tavoy. Take care and give our best to the boys out of training tonight.
All right, I will.
Thank you.
All right, there he goes, Tavoy Morgan, heading to Front Wave Arena, and we head into the show. I apologize for my discombobulated entry there, Tony. I apparently did walk in those earphones like I thought I did, and then somehow they fell to the floor.
Yeah, no,
and then
you can't put AirTags on AirPods or just the headphones. I mean, we need to figure out a technology. If we figured out other things, just headphones should never be lost in 2025. At this point, we need to figure. Maybe we should put some wires on them. Just you can hang them.
Oh, I know.
But then you got to find a solution to that. So I don't know. There's no winning. But hey, we made it. Tavoy's on, ready to go. I love it when players have training and the team trains at the same time or it's near the day before, just to get that mentality and just kind of let everything sit in. So it sounds like that's exactly what's happening down at Front Wave Arena tonight.
That's it. I'm looking forward to going out there tomorrow night. I don't know. Is this the week the new turf is in? Is this the week the Nets are in? I thought I had originally heard 4 matches.
Correct.
Of course, I had also heard like 3 matches ago that the Nets were in next week. So always subject to delay. Could be waiting on a barge somewhere or maybe a flatbed truck outside Yuma, Arizona. Who knows? Who knows in this crazy world? But eventually, we're going to have new turf at Front Wave Arena. We're going to have netting up, and we'll be fully operational.
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
The new arena smells is starting to wear off, at least for the first year. But if you put new things as you go in the year, I think it's a genius move, right? You start, it never wears off. Let's roll out new carpet, new netting, smell it, and give it a couple of more days of newness out there.
Now, from what I heard, I think the new turf is blue. So maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing to wait, because a team that plays on blue is, of course, coming to town on Wednesday, the Kansas City Comets. So I haven't seen it myself. I haven't seen the rendering. I'm just the guy who floats in with Tony to announce the game and also to do this show. So we'll see. I had heard a rumor. That the turf would be in, but we'll find out. Here's what's coming up on the rest of the show. Momentarily, we'll bring you the highlights as put together by our wonderful Eddie Trujillo of the Sockers taking down Tacoma, making it 5 wins in a row. Outstanding. Hey, the commissioner made his picks. Did you hear? You wouldn't find it if you went on the MASL website, but he did. He did. And I went and watched the show to make sure I got him right. We'll present that information, which could be new to you, coming up in MASL news. And we're going to take a look at the standings, which I think we just have to do all the time, because it's a whole new world this year in terms of what the MASL is going to look like going into the playoffs. That is coming up, of course, on Soccer's News, a preview of not one, but 2 matches. We got Kansas City, and then we've got whatever's left of the Texas Outlaws coming to town on Friday, a game that you have to circle, and then a game that you hope the Sockers can write the score against an Outlaws team that doesn't really have a whole lot left. Okay, that's what's still to come. Tavoy, hoping he has a safe and quick drive over along either Oceanside Boulevard or Rancho de Oro. And as such, let's roll into Friday night. Sockers had a very straightforward week, just one match, one trip up to Kent, Washington to take on the Tacoma Stars at Acesso Showwear Center. And, a guy who got off to a really slow start this year, Tony, Drew Ruggles, came into this match with no points. Well, he was going to change that tonight. How about the left footer starting off with a right-footed shot from right in the middle of the crease for 1-0.
And this really sets the tone for this match, where you see players who we've been asking more of. Drew Ruggles looked like he had the ideas going. It just wasn't going his way. He's been asked to be a little bit more defensive, especially in the first couple of games. But now he has that freedom, and just being able to go and have that big body in the middle of the pitch to do that is fantastic. So happy for Drew, and we'll see more of him here.
Unquestionably, but first, a equalizing goal from Tacoma. Alex Caceres inch perfect on that shot, and Pardo's momentum taking him the opposite direction. He was weight toward the middle. You can see there on the left foot, and as he tries to come back to the right, Caceres just right on target. Sockers then get a power play, and for the second time in 2 road matches at Tacoma, they surrender a shorthanded goal. And it's the same 2 dudes that were combining last time, just in opposite order. Tyler John, Kevin Correa, putting it together. Each of them now have a shorthanded goal. They have each of them against San Diego. And at this moment, with 7 minutes left in the first quarter, really a bit of a bummer. However, take a look at that clock. It's just 30 seconds later. The power play not yet over when Charlie Gonzalez finds open space and the ability to push it right past Toth. So both teams score on that power play, Tony, and it winds up 2-2.
What I like about soccer so far is that they've been able to respond. They've been able to keep up with any adversary that's really asked of them to keep up with Chihuahua, with Tacoma, and you love seeing it. And then taking advantage here of an opportunity. What a beautiful look here by Drew Ruggles, just knowing where to go, freezing Toth. It's not easy to do, and a little Cole Palmer, it's a little chilly up here celebration.
Lovely 3-2, almost 4-2 right there. Of course, Sebastian Mendez still trying to get that first goal as a San Diego Soccer would come later. But now this, you want to know why Tacoma's not going to make the playoffs? Just take that play and put it on a reel on slow-mo and put it on repeat. That's all the key players on the team losing themselves defensively. Pereira's behind the play. Cox is behind the play. Brame is jogging in. Nobody defending. Just leaving Chris Toth on an absolute island for 4-2. Boris Pardo, great save right there on Nick Pereira on an absolute cannon volley. The Stars always have those creators, but they've just, and there's a nice creation there by Correa for 4-3. They had some chances to tie this game along the way, Tony, but there's always going to be kind of that fatal flaw for Tacoma. And you often see it in these matches up there in Washington, where the Sockers are just able to take advantage of Tacoma lapses defensively.
And it really speaks to the need to have a complete team if you want to be championship caliber in that MASL. You need to have those defensive aspects locked in, or at least some sort of direction in order to clean those up, because offense just doesn't get it done enough of the time down in playoffs. But Tacoma's nice to look at sometimes. Offensive wise, like, all right, that's interesting and good, but on defense, it's a whole nother ball game.
Both goalkeepers shining in the final minute of the third quarter. Chris Toth right here, tested again by Drew Ruggles, pushes it over, but it winds up being a corner kick. And that winds up being important because look at this, just completely unguarded. First off, Keiko Gontan, and then the bing, bang, bong. You use the bumpers in the pinball machine as he winds up getting the goal right there. And again, for Tacoma, very regrettable. Speaking of regrettable, how about this? Eddie Mitchell's there? Holy cow. Right at this moment, Sockers are going to win. They get 2 goals in 30 seconds at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, really piling it on now. And again, seeing Cardenas get involved here, seeing Gontan just continue that streak. And really the Sockers are gelling together. And you can really see the different elements building chemistry. And again, this is fortunate. But, at the end of the day, you have to have that high pressure by Cardenas, not giving up, following through on the play. And you get rewarded right there.
Now, Tacoma was not out of it. Of course, there's Nick doing his Nick things and Stefan Mijatovic quite colorfully suggesting where he knocked in the ball. All lower body parts count. Nonetheless, Mijatovic, 6-4 on that one. And then not too long later, Mijatovic, just a deflection off Serta. Now both teams get a rather unfortunate deflection goal. And all of a sudden, from, hey, we've got this game, to, wait a second, it's 6-5. We're leaking goals here. Tacoma's had some chances, but never fear. Mendez is here. How about it? Is he on the team? He's on the team. Sebastian Mendez. Incredible play. First time I think I've seen him under control and controlling the ball on a run. He's usually got a bouncing ball. He's usually been way out of control. Lovely. So futsal oriented right there, using the near post, cutting his shot in for 7-5. And then moments later, just a minute and a half later, the steal. Another terrible touch by Mijatovic. Just an absolute anchor of a touch. And Mendez is dancing with Juan Salazar as it becomes an 8-5 match.
Really important players stepping up now, where you have these expectations. Juancho there really working hard over the offseason to get acclimated. I know he was very happy and very happy for Mendez as well. The team really rallied around his performance, and you see him trying the things that he was successful against at Tacoma. He's been able to do that, but now he's been rewarded. I think being able to focus it together, and there you go. El hat trick for the long-haired gentleman.
He deserves it. It was a rough start to the season. I don't think last year was the season he wanted either. Biggest game for Drew Ruggles so far as a San Diego Socker. He gets the cherry on top in a 9-5 finish. Lovely to see the modified TJ counter. It's TJ and North Carolina getting together on that one. But, back here with the two of us, honestly, my number one takeaway from that match is, have they turned the switch on Sebastian Mendez? Because when I watch him in action succeeding, Tony, I feel like I'm watching Brandon Escoto. I feel like I'm watching the water bug out there dancing so fast, so technical, so dangerous, able to take someone on one-on-one, able to slither and find his way into seams, and then a powerful shot with accuracy. He's got the skills to be a leading scorer on this team. And through the first 5 matches, he was a 0-0 every match, running in between the offensive lines, usually a ball bouncing and bouncing on him. It always felt like he was at 78 RPM when the record was supposed to be played at 45. And to get it on time in this match, if the Sockers get a 2-point a game player going forward, even a 1.5 a game player in Sebastian Mendez going forward, that's a new level for this club. And frankly, I believe that's what they're going to need against teams like Kansas City and against teams like Chihuahua going down the stretch.
Exactly. And it's fortunate that the Sockers were able to afford to have that, right? You have different players stepping up. Luis Morales, Tavoy Morgan having individual performances that led the Sockers to go and win some very tough matches. But it's these details, and it's again, the team aspect of it. Everybody has to pull their own weight. And it seemed like the team was just also waiting for Mendez to do that. And that's why when he has a performance like this, you see him have chance after chance of him wanting to cut and do that exact same play, cut into the inside, strike it with the left. And usually he gets the strike, doesn't end up anywhere near the goal, the net. It's not on target, but you see those things. And that's what good players do. Good players will do the same move. You know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to telegraph it, but it works somehow. It just wasn't working for him for whatever reason. And it seems like that recalibration has now happened. He's slowing things down. He has a support of the team behind him. And I think we are now in prime position to see a new Sebastian Mendez. And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, it was important. It was needed. Frankly, it was needed. You kept looking at this team and going, well, Keiko Gontan has fit in hand in glove. You know, he seamlessly has integrated into this club. And for Mendez, it just felt like a triangle trying to go into a round hole, you know, just not there. And so to see that activation, to see Drew get activated, really, really exciting. Of course, you'd still love to see some of San Diego's stalwarts start to pick it up a little bit more. You'd love to see more out of Leo. You'd love to see more out of Charlie. Tavoy, you know, I think we've come to accept that Tavoy is a sine wave. It'll be up, it'll be down. It could be a 0. It could be 4 goals. It could be 4 goals and a half, no goals in the next half. You know, he's one of those streaky players that when he gets clicking, it clicks and he's unstoppable. And then there's other times where he gets stopped. But I just look at the totality of the San Diego attack, and we're going to talk more about their offense here as the show continues. And it's pretty remarkable to see the totality of the talent and the skill on this club, and then to see that 9 is far and away their high for goals scored on the season. 6 was the best they could do before that.
And they're going to have to go ahead and manage that other teams are also now scouting, because you can have the advantage of saying, well, you don't know how Gabi Costa is going to go ahead and deal with somebody who's like Gontan, or so somebody who is really a complete unknown in a lot of different ways. Look at the success that Kelvin is having in Utica, completely unknown, and now he's lighting it up across the world. The most famous indoor soccer player, apparently, that nobody knew of. But what I'm saying here is that the Sockers really have an opportunity to build consistency, and that's what they need. They need to build that identity. They need to really go and hone in on the skills that they have and start adding the talent aspect after. That's what you need. The talent's there. That's the accent to what the team should be. And the baseline of the San Diego Sockers needs to be a consistent attacking and defensive-minded workhorse with work rates that are going to be really make everybody proud and not have everybody huffing and puffing out there because they couldn't, keep up with the demand of the other teams. And every game is more important now. And when that game got close to 65, I got a little nervous. I had those questions again. Who are these Sockers? Who are the San Diego Sockers away? And gladly, we got a good response on the positive side here.
Yeah, you got to take care of business against Tacoma. I don't mean in any way to disparage them. Normally they wind up 500, but normally they've wound up 500 by finding like the two worst teams in the league and just beating them every time and then losing to us pretty much every time and then falling in the playoffs with one match that's hard fought. And, it's just kind of been that story year after year. When you don't change the talent, Mijatovic is a notable exception. When you don't change the talent, you just don't really change the results. And for a Stars team that, if you think about it, their first match was beating us and their second match was taking Chihuahua to a shootout and only falling in a shootout. Since then, they haven't won a match. Obviously they didn't win the Chihuahua match, but they haven't won a match. They've lost to everybody along the way. And now they do look like one of the 4 not make it teams.
Yeah, and really, it's going to be very easy to start falling behind. The gaps are going to start appearing, and look, you have other teams like Baltimore in a way that's surprising. They do well early in the season. Utica was kind of on that same pace, but now, excuse me, and we'll get to it. Not Utica for the week. I don't know if you are in the know. Once again, it is pasta time over in New York.
The Riggies,
the Riggies are back. So my apologies there.
I was hoping for a slightly more colorful kit in year 2 of the Riggies because I really was probably going to buy one if they leaned a little hard into the sauce, a little saucier jersey. But it's still, there's just too much white. There's too much white on the kit for my liking. However, always subject to your own opinion. I do love the idea, the concept. I love the Riggies concept. Now, Sockers, don't you go getting any ideas.
Please, no.
Because we're like the Yankees or Club America. Club America won't become Club Whistlerbang or something. I don't know. Club Toasty Locos.
Actually.
Ahora mismo nosotros somos Toasty Locos.
Hey, Hispanic Heritage Night. Let's go ahead and throw some ideas out there. Call me. I got some connects.
Fair enough. Okay, there it is. Sockers win 9-5. It had some twists and turns. It certainly wasn't a definitive victory, but in the end, it's a 5, 9-5. That fifth one, I saw it. We're not counting the one off of his. Never mind. Okay, let's transition to MASL news. And on MASL Monday, look, Alex Pastavansky and Phil Ivanko, Eric Bergrud standing by, looking like a wizened saint, like the saint of Kansas City. He had a scarf. He had like this illumination around him. Dare I say a halo-like effect around our sainted Eric Bergrud. And Keith Tozer, commissioner of the MASL, was right there as well to announce his Capelli's commissioner's picks. Sponsored. Capelli's commissioner's picks. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm literally not being, it sounds like I'm making fun, but I'm not. Like, the MASL needs sponsored stuff. We need sponsored things. We need a little bit more juice like that. So that was cool. Capelli, commissioner's picks. And they were Joey Tavernisi, who is off to a really good start this year. Unquestioned. He's 1 goal off the league lead. 12 goals. Joey Tavernisi and Gordy Gerson. Gordy Gerson is the second commissioner's pick and the final addition to the All-Star rosters. What?
But why?
Now, Gordy is a guy that I've gotten to know over the years. I consider him a friend. I traveled with him to Australia with the men's team for the WMF World Cup. I loved his year here in San Diego. despite the fact he had no goals and no points for the COVID team. He is a Sockers champion. He got a championship ring with the San Diego Sockers. And he's been a dynamite scorer in this league. If you want to look at like the last 5 years as an all-star, I think Gordy Gerson 100% is that. And I'm not even here to pile on Gordy. You want to pick Gordy, that's fine. You want to pick Joy Tavernisi, who also happens to be located in the Atlantic East, playing for Harrisburg. Cool. That's no problem. You can do that. Joey's, like I said, he's had a good year. There he is. Wow. Tapping in one against a winless team in front of 15 people. That was a whale of a play. I think maybe Texas should try defending the middle of the. I hope we get 1,000 goals against Texas on Friday. I hope they defend just like that. I think Tavoy should get 100 goals. No, look, I all I really believe is that these are purely regional picks based on people who could drive to the game. Like,
yeah,
can Joey drive to the game? Yes. Can Gordy's in Utica. He can make it. It's probably a lot harder to get Hugo Puentes and Jorge Rios up to upstate New York. It's a bit of a hole to get them from Chihuahua to upstate New York. But I'm going to stand up for the ideals of a better, more perfect union, okay, of a better MASL, and say that not having the two best players from the Bicampeones is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And what we really have is mostly just Utica's team and other players from the East, and then, a few guys from elsewhere around the league. The vote was, brought in some popular players. Cool, fine. Another comment, but there's very little in terms of like, are these the best players in the league? If you looked back at the All-Star rosters 10 years from now, would this be a representative sampling of the best players of the league? And I would have to say, well, some of the best players of the league are there. And then there's also just some guys who could make it from Utica. And I don't know. I'm not bummed. I'm not criticizing. Joey deserves it. He scored 12 goals. Gordy's there. He's been a great player in his career. Name him an all-star. I'll think of it as he's an all-star for his great year he had in Florida, or the great year he had in Milwaukee, or great years that he had in the Pacific Northwest in the past. He's had plenty of great years along the way, but he's certainly not one of the top 24 players in the league this year. And to have great players from the championship team, the same team that's probably going to beat down some of these same all-stars as the year goes along. Like, I look forward to a time where the league is grown from a financial standpoint enough that travel considerations won't be what determines who makes the all-star game, as opposed to who's the truly best and the most deserving.
Yeah, and listen, I tune into the Chihuahua games just to get inspired, honestly, because that commentary team is fantastic. They love the sport. You can tell like it means so much to the people that work there and are involved with Chihuahua, and that's why you like to see an organization succeed that way. And they're incredibly proud of their representation in the All-Star game. And so they were vying, they were trying to get people to vote and making sure that, they were represented, but they also understand. They were like, yeah, I think that we got snubbed a couple of players here, and rightly so. I think that's something that it definitely merits some sort of like discussion as far as like, well, let's just go ahead and name it like a semi-star, like it's a star and a half. We were going like Michelin stars, like, all right, well, we gotta have 3 stars or 1 star, or I don't know how you're gonna deal with that, but yeah, to not have players that are really exactly the representative, the ambassadors of the game at its highest potential is just a miss. And again, I hope that things get in a place where we can have those discussions, bring some other players around the world as a maybe crossover with some of these other leagues, or just a really cool opportunity to showcase this sport, and it doesn't get the respect that it deserves. And I think now it's a perfect time to strike. But hey, I'll watch. It'll be fun. It'll be fun seeing a couple guys have a couple of great plays and have absolutely no defense. So why not?
I think there's like maybe 8 defenders between the whole roster. I mean, it's pretty wild. But you know what? At this level, I'm just happy that they're doing it. I'm happy for anything that generates MASL news, like we have on the banner there. I'm happy for anything that generates news for this league, that generates interest. There's nothing that fans love more than to complain about all-star picks. So if there's any players maybe tuning into the show and they're like, hey, you better not say a thing. Listen, this is part of the fun. This is part of it. This is part of it, is having those who should be there, who deserves it, who doesn't. That's part of the grist for the mill. And you want to have grist, or else the mill grinds to a stop. It's I think, mill 101, frankly. So, and this has been your milling lesson on Sock Time. Can we pull up the standings table? Because I was looking at this earlier today, and boy, we've got ourselves a little bit of a something here in the MASL single table era. Now, someone needs to break it to Tavoy, because when I asked him, he said, well, we're in the same conference, him and Chihuahua. Yes, you are. But you're also not. You're also in the same conference as Utica, just so you know. It's all one. It's all one. And there it is. There's the Savage. 8 games played, 20 points. They are your number one team. 86 goals. Of course, they got back on the beam. They scored 20 goals in 2 matches to take care of St. Louis Ambush twice at Corner Sport Arena. They're averaging 3.5 goals a game on the road and over 11 goals per game at home, which is just silly fun stuff. But Chihuahua is still the number one team in this league. Then you've got a 3-way tie for second place. You've got the Wave 6-1. You've got the Blast 6-1, and you've got the Comets 5-0-2. They just got to the same point total in a slightly different direction. But you look at the goal differentials, 23, 13, 17. These teams are all in a similar range. You look at the goals for, 53 in 7 games. Okay, over 7 a game. 48, around 7 a game. Comets approaching 7 a game. Okay, solid offense. Comets, great defense. Only 4 goals per match allowed. 28 allowed in 7 matches, something that we'll have to keep an eye on. And all those teams in form, as you can see, all those teams on multi-match win streaks. And there are the Sockers. 2 matches in hand on Chihuahua, 1 match in hand on the rest of the leaders. Essentially, if the Sockers win on Wednesday in regulation, if they get all 3 against Kansas City, they would slot upward into that tie for second, third, fourth. They would ostensibly be tied with Kansas City as well. They'd both be sitting on 17, but San Diego would have the wins edge, the head-to-head edge, and they'd still have a match in hand. So the Sockers are right there. They're not in the top half yet. They're sitting in that 5th position, but they're essentially a result away from being there, and they're still on pace to be able to tie the Savage, seeing as they have a 6-point gap and 2 matches in hand. So Sockers are in a very nice situation so far. They've played twice as many home games as road games. It'll be 3 times as many home games as road games by the end of this week. That will balance out over time, but San Diego finds himself in a pretty good position so far.
Yeah, I'd say it's a comfortable position, but that doesn't mean they can get comfortable. And I think it's the complete opposite of that. It's the moment to really look at the level of competition across the league and really look at the fact that games that you need to take care of, it's not just taking care of anymore. You need to also be able to score a couple dozen goals against some of these opponents to keep up in goal differential and really just be able to be at that same level. Because if you have Milwaukee, Baltimore, Kansas City, who have gone up against teams and are really firing on all cylinders, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. If they're firing all cylinders any given night, you're going to go ahead and have a bad one against them. And so that's what the Sockers can't afford. They need to go ahead and just continue the consistency, continue building, and really establish themselves on top of either 1, 2 to be even more comfortable. But right now, I think they can afford to kind of take that steady pace right now. We have a situation where it can be a slippery slope with that because there is a lot of parity, and there is also the teams that are kind of distancing themselves, but the other way. And again, those are the games that you must take advantage of.
Well, then let's continue down the table, because now we get into this middle area and you get into some interesting storylines. There lay the Strikers at 4-5. They've already won one more match than they had all of last year when they were 3-21 as a team. They are at a -1 goal differential, which is reasonably impressive for all the goals that Empire generally allows. They are averaging, around 7 goals per match, just under 7 goals per match, 3-1 at home. Very impressive. They've already had to go down to Chihuahua. They've absorbed that beating already. So for Empire, I'd say strong signals that they will be able to finish the year in the top 8 when all is said and done.
And it's really a competition for that survival right there. That is the last lifeboat for the teams that are in this cusp. And it's going to be a matter of who, again, is in form at the right time and when these victories come. It's a long season, but at the end of the day, playoffs are going to be here before you know it.
In 7th position, you have half of Utica City FC, because half of that squad is one guy, Kelvin Oliveira. And since he's been gone, it's not been right for Utica. They don't have the offense. There's still a good team. They're still scrappy. There's still a good, hungry team. But Oliveira, to me, is the best player in this league. He is a true difference maker. And as such, Tony, I put Utica City FC strongly in, even though they are 7th right now. I put them as a no doubt playoff team in my mind, and also a team that could threaten teams in the middle, in those 4, 5, 6 positions for their standing placement as the year goes on. It's simply a matter of Oliveira getting back from Kings Cup League action, which I know he should be now, getting healthy, being in form, and being out on the floor for UCFC. When he's out there, he changes everything.
And similarly to the Sockers, I think they're also comfortable, but on the other side of just one Empire Strikers, where they know it's just a matter of time, that chemistry builds, that the time the table is going to go ahead and be in their favor. But they're also comfortable in building towards that playoff push. Last year, they had a great playoff push and really had the consistency. They faltered a little bit here. The rise of the Comets also contributed to that, to the form at the end of the regular season. But again, Utica is in a good spot, especially when Mr. Magnificent, man, it's so fun watching him play. Kelvin Oliveira is wonderful.
Now, you got 5 teams left for one spot in the standings, and I would kind of group these 5 as the 5 MASL clubs that currently aren't all the way there. They're not 100% locked in clubs. These are the clubs that are traveling really weird lineups on the road quite often, that may be under-resourced in some pretty significant ways. And I don't consider any of these teams even remotely as contenders. Now, Dallas is in that, number 8 spot right now. Could Tacoma someday overtake them? Maybe. Does Harrisburg have a different level? They haven't for years. St. Louis with the Tayus, what's the difference? They've been getting beat. And Texas is being propped up. I mean, let's be honest. It's a franchise being propped up to exist this year, being propped up by outside money. Texas may not win a game. I'm not sure that Texas will win a game. If they do, it'll probably be at home against Dallas. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Sockers, booped around and found themselves trailing in the third quarter at that empty arena when they have to make it there, because I don't think they've ever taken a game there seriously or very effectively. It's been kind of a house of horrors for them. But honestly, I love a lot of the things that's going on with the league, but these 5 franchises right now, I don't think are really aligned in a positive direction. I think some of them are hanging on, and you wind up with results like this. Pretty uncompetitive. Look at the minuses on the goal differentials. We're just 7 matches in. I mean, Texas is 5 matches in and they're minus 34.
X. Yeah, no, it's really almost just league fodder in with con todo respeto. But I think the lesson here for every other team is that these teams at the bottom of the table, your mission is to not drop a single point against them. And that has to be on top of mind of every single team. And again, just looking specifically at the Sockers, no time to see an opponent and say, all right, we may not want to go ahead and go 100% today. No, you have to be ruthless. You have to have that tenacity throughout. And because guess what? Other teams are doing that. The other teams clearly are just speed bagging some of these other clubs as it goes. And, they're enjoying a great time and scoring bundles and bundles of goals. But just make sure that you're not the team to lose to a Texas Outlaws. Because, yeah, they might win against Dallas. But you know what? Why not play spoiler for somebody who's in the top 1, 2, 3 slots and that's your major contribution and influence for the season? I don't know. Just don't lose to them.
Yeah. Last thing before we get off this table, take a look at the goals scored for these clubs in the MASL. All right. Texas, around 5 a game. Tacoma, boy, that's disappointing. That's less than 5 a game. For Tacoma, that's shocking. Harrisburg, 43. Okay, that's over 6 a game. Ambush, it's around 5. That's pretty low. Dallas, 30 in 7 matches. Yikes, that's just over 4. Utica, we know they're close to 7, and they're higher than that with Kelvin. Strikers doing good. Here are our Sockers. +8. Cool. Under 6 goals a match. 34 goals. Now, we've only played 6 compared to almost everyone else 7, so it's unfair to look at the goal totals themselves. Nonetheless, we're only like about 4 off 5 or 6 off the lowest goal total in the whole league. And that's why earlier I was saying, when you look at the totality of the talent on this club, now look, 26 goals allowed, that's bang on. That's tremendous, right? I agree. 118 R. Hernandez. Defense, that's 4.25 goals allowed per game. That's terrific. I'm shocked at how few goals San Diego has been able to put in at home on their new arena floor. And I'll be really curious to see where that number goes after these 2 matches. Kansas City, a team that's been tremendous on defense, allowing just 4 goals per match. And then Texas, which can't stop anybody. So at the end of this, on balance, do the Sockers get 16 goals this week? Can the Sockers score 16 goals this week against Kansas City and against Texas combined? However you shake it out. Can they get 16 goals this week? If I was a coach, I'd write that down on a whiteboard somewhere. Can we get 16 goals this week?
And really, it's a matter of living on the razor's edge with some of these results, because you're fighting tooth and nail so far in matches that you typically have a more comfortable display by the Sockers, especially at home, but it hasn't been that way. And sooner or later, you're not going to be able to squeak out a 1-goal victory. And there's already been a couple so far this season. So in the game and in the sport of indoor soccer, it's high pace for a reason. There's reason why we love it, the high pace offense, and you're going to have to keep up. And if a team just puts it on you and you have a defense that's not up to par, that can't keep up later, and maybe match fitness isn't where you need it to be, you have a lot of veterans in that area. Yeah, the creation is young for the Sockers, but again, talking about defense is working it right now. How long are you realistically going to have that and rely on that. It's not necessarily the Sockers of old, defensively speaking. So it has to go ahead and adapt. And that number, while scary, I think it's going to go ahead and turn around here, hopefully, with some of the opponents coming in.
Sockers need to find their cohesion offensively. And if they don't, they're going to have a hard time tomorrow night as we switch over to our match previews. The Kansas City Comets coming to town, and I'm just trying to find it real quick. One thing you'd think they'd find if they've got an all-star game that they're excited about, it'd be a good thing to just be able to find the all-star roster like really quickly on their league website. They literally haven't posted the commissioner's picks, which were made on Monday.
Yep.
Made on Monday. Guys, help out a friend. Please help out a friend. Okay, I was just making sure that Rion Marquez is on the all-star team. He is. Thank goodness. Because Rion Marquez is on an absolute roll. Right now, he's probably your if it's not Kelvin Oliveira, it's Rion Marquez. He's got 4 straight games of at least 3 points. He's got 4 straight games of multiple goals. He leads the league with 20 points on the season. Had a hat trick against the ambush. Had 2 goals against the ambush. Goal and 2 assists against the sidekicks. 2 goals and an assist against the Comets. And he had 2 goals and 2 assists against the Wave. So he hasn't only done it against the bottom 4 in the league. Rion Marquez, 6'3". He's a true target forward. We've seen him do damage. We saw him do damage last year against San Diego when Kansas City came to town. He's going to be a handful, and he's going to be Mitchell Cardenas and Cesar Cerda's primary responsibility tomorrow night.
Yeah, you're really going to have a test with Marquez and the style that's very dynamic and asking a lot of different things from this defense of San Diego. So it's going to be that first tough test and battle that I think the Sockers are going to face with Kansas City. So a big body, somebody who gets it done and is on a hot streak. It's always really good to be the one to put an end to that hot streak. So hopefully San Diego can do that.
7 players on the Comets that are regulars, averaging at least 1 point per match or more. Of course, we know Zach Reggett. He's not having the dynamite year yet, just 8 points in 7 matches, but he does have 6 goals. So you know that left foot is dangerous. Nacho Flores leads the team in assists with 6 helpers. Well, beyond Rion Marquez, who has 8 helpers. But in terms of the guy who usually is on the top of arc plays, usually the guy that's on their corner kicks, it's usually Flores, the guy who's distributing the ball. And then you see, Christian Andreos has 6 goals. Leo Acosta, who was voted to the All-Star team, has 4 goals. Tetsane, 4 goals. Palmer, 4 goals. Reasonably balanced team, not incredibly deep, but they definitely have 2 good scoring lines. Marquez leads the way. And then we have to mention old friend alert, Guerrero Pino, who had been getting flown in from Kansas City each of the last several years. Finally, that relationship ended. He wanted to just be at home. And Guerrero Pino is going to be the lead dog defensively for Kansas City tomorrow night. So the guy that's guarding Tavoy Morgan, potentially Luis Morales, and whoever else the Sockers are trying to throw at the attack, it's going to be our buddy number 5. It's going to be Pino that's lining things. Oh, he switched to number 6. Okay. That's fine.
It's okay.
That's fine.
New Jersey.
I wonder if he showed up for his photo day, or if he had somebody Photoshop him in, like happened every single year here.
No, and look, at the end of the day, what better Rosetta Stone to the Sockers than Guerrero Pino, especially defensively, who knows the ins and outs. You train against Tavoy, you know exactly what the DNA of the Sockers is, so you can impart that wisdom and really put this Kansas City team on a new gear and say, hey, this is how you can approach the Sockers. You need to go ahead and take it to them, go ahead and press high and really wait for the mistake. And that's what the San Diego has always been able to do defensively. Wait for the mistake, be a little bit more patient. If they are that patient, they frustrate San Diego's offense, there's a chance that they can then counterattack with some of this offensive firepower and make this a really interesting match.
Here's something weird. As I'm continuing to, go back and reflect on the MASL All-Star roster, All-Star goalkeeper Nicolau Neto is no longer the starter for the Kansas City Comets. Neto has started all of one game so far this year, and it wasn't exactly an amazing performance. The other 6 have been started by Philip Ejimadu, who has been dynamite, a 3.64 goals against, a 728 save percentage. Now, we don't have Eric Bergrud here, so I'm not 100% whether Neto has just been hurt the whole time. I know he's dealt with some injuries in the past, but I've seen him on the bench. I've watched some KC games. I've seen him on the bench. He appears to be active for these games. And as such, I am a little like, because I always thought Nicolau Neto was one of the dynamic shot stoppers in the league, big physical player. But Ejimadu, at least for now, and until we see warm-ups tomorrow, maybe we'll find out otherwise, but he appears to be the guy the Sockers will have to beat tomorrow.
So we couldn't make room for another Chihuahua player, for a non-starter / somebody who might be injured or somebody has a question mark attached for this All-Star game?
Yeah.
In a game that will not be defended.
Kelsey, our dear friend Kelsey, by the way, miss you, Kelsey. Hope to see you sometime this year. You are amazing. She says that they claim he's been ill. What all year?
I hope
mono.
Okay. I hope he's okay. I hope everything is well.
I mean, he's on the bench.
I hope everybody next to him is well as well.
Like, it seems kind of malpractice-y if he's been sick for like 6 weeks and he's just hanging around the team. Maybe we'll find out more. Maybe he's got something other than walking pneumonia. It's running pneumonia. It's pneumonia, but you can still run.
I like that. Dr. Craig.
I keyed. I'm just being silly. But yeah, I mean, I looked at that and I was like, okay. I thought they'd be time sharing. Honestly, was wondering if it was like 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off, like the Mexican teams. But no, it's been all Ejimadu, and he's been really, really good. So it's not like Kansas City's missed a beat, in the back end. In previous years, I always felt like Kansas City came out here and found out there was a different level, and that the Sockers kind of took it to them. And then last year, if you remember, it was looking like one of those matches, and then KC ran away with it at the end of the game and just outclassed San Diego in the third and fourth quarters. So tell you what, I'm going into this match, different feeling than I did a couple Sundays ago against Chihuahua, where I thought, look, we're up against it. It's going to take the Sockers' best effort of the year. However, I do think this is a litmus test game. I think that this is one that you don't have as a guaranteed win. I think this is one where if Kansas City shows up defensively, of course, the guys we didn't really talk about, we mentioned Pino, but, Vandegrift is there as well. Nacho is a strong defender. Titsani is fast. They've got more youth and speed, I think, than the Sockers do on balance, full roster looking at them. So I'm really curious at a couple of things. One, is Mendez activated? And I don't mean for the roster. I mean, is his action activated? Is he here now? He's been here, but he's not been here. Is he here now? Is he a part of this? Because if he is, that makes it harder for Kansas City to be sure. Which Tavoy do you get? Is the Tavoy switch on? Is the Tavoy switch off? Costa, Charlie, Leo. The helpers haven't been as helpful as they could be, and as I think they will be as the year goes on. Can these guys break down the defense of Kansas City and create opportunities? And the last question that should be asked is what's going to happen for the second forward? Luis Morales is back. I know that, as Marlisha said. I'm not sure he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. From my understanding, he's a game time decision. He might have picked up something on the way home. and hopefully he won't mess with the rest of the team, because we've got another match on Friday that we will preview much, much less than this one. So I'm really looking at what is this? Who is the second forward? What does the second forward have? Is Mendez activated? Are our helpers creating chances for this club? Is Costa, is Charlie, are these guys creating chances for this club? Are they generating 7 or 8 scoring chances in the match? If that's the case, I like the Sockers in this one. I like the Sockers, somewhere around 7-5, somewhere in that range, 8-6, a possibility. I don't know that we're going to be able to shut down Kansas City the way that you saw this team shut down Chihuahua. I think Chihuahua going from the little field to the big field is a big difference. Kansas City's used to our size. They've got the speed. They've got the talent. So I'm thinking more in that, 14 to 16 goals scored range tomorrow, maybe 12 to 14 goals scored range tomorrow. And can the Sockers get that offense to the spot where it needs to be, that they can win a game like that pretty easy?
And so far this season, the Sockers have had success whenever they find goals early on. They're able to figure out a team early, and they can then decide when to pour it on and decide when to open up space and open up these plays to have more opportunities. I think that's going to be the key, to really sit and assess what you have with Kansas City, defend well as you've been doing. Defense is one of these things where, yes, you need to scout, but a good defensive team will be good against anybody. And if that's the case with San Diego Sockers, then you focus on that midfield, on that transition period, open up the spaces, have the opportunities early on, because then you can have the rest of the game in case you have to catch up with a good Kansas City attack. You still have the time to commit to the way you want to play. And if you want to go ahead and pivot somewhere else or just be a little bit more dynamic, you can do that. And again, those players you mentioned, I think it's going to be a matter of time now, and hopefully time is tomorrow, when this chemistry and everybody else starts building together. And really, you're asking for another team victory, another complete team victory. They've been able to do it. We've seen some glimpses, some performances, but I have to agree, this is the team that figured it out against you at your home. That's Susan was mentioning it earlier in the season. That's exactly midseason. The Kansas City figured it out. Yes, it was against Sockers. Don't let that happen again. Do not let that happen again. Don't be that kindling, because then let me tell you, it's going to be a matter of time before you start slipping and you put yourself somewhere mentally, and you're not going to be able to get yourself out of that hole, whether that's in just tomorrow's game or the rest of the season. This is going to set the tone for where the Sockers move forward.
7:35, CBS Sports Golazo Network. Late on a Wednesday, the Sockers are offering $5 select tickets. They're having $5 Coors Lights tomorrow for the 5th match in franchise history at the new arena. $5 tickets, yikes. But at the same time, also, you get it. It's a Wednesday night in Oceanside, man. That's hooey. I'm thinking about that drive home already. Like, holy cow. Don't expect me to hang out and wait for the autograph line on Wednesday night. I'm going to be heading to the car pretty quick. I got a show the next morning, but it's still, in one sense, I like it. The one and only sense that I like it is that this is a great showcase for the MASL, and it'll be the only game on. It's one that hopefully a lot of fans around the league will go to see on CBS Sports Golazo Network. But to think that we're going to have our best crowd tomorrow night is, of course, fanciful at best. We're not going to. It's a Wednesday night. And in that sense, it kind of stinks, because this is one of the 2 best matches in the home schedule is Kansas City. And it's coming in for this midweek, like, whoa, what's going on?
Hey, maybe Oceanside is a hold on, let me make sure that it's the correct beverage. Coors Light, just fan base up north in Oceanside. Maybe that's a Coors Light community, but why not? It's school night. Let's go ahead and get a victory regardless for the kids who are going back to school, because school started down here already.
Yeah. Then on Friday night, it's the Texas Outlaws coming to town on Military Night. They've got the new, there they are. The new military kits. The scarf looks all right. I kind of like the navy blue one.
Yeah. Not the Piolín, the Tweety Bird, right?
I would never wear that. I'd probably never wear either of them, but I might wear the one on the left. The one on the left is that one's okay. That one's okay. They have some $10 craft beers that night as well. I saw the marketing for that. And it's Texas Outlaws. It's going to be on CBS Sports Golazo Network again. And here's my preview, Tony. The Sockers are going to win the match. It's not going to be competitive in the fourth quarter. It better not be competitive by the second quarter.
Yes.
I'm not kidding. It better not be competitive really at any point in the match, because that'll be an embarrassment. Phil's literally paying that team to show up. Like, at least in some sense, he is. So this is a match that the Sockers, this is what I would like to see. This is what I would like to see. I would like to see Xavier Snare-Williams in net. Boris had, a match on Saturday. He's got an all-star match tomorrow, a highlight match. Give it your all and enjoy Friday's game from the bench. Let Xavier start that game. No reason not to let Xavier Snare-Williams start Friday's match. You need to start to integrate him in. You never know when an injury could come. 2, Sebastian Mendez on the power play and on set pieces. Let's rotate some of the skill position lineups here for a match like this on Friday. Let's try and get some guys going. Let's try and get some things clicking. If Morales is back, let's get him clicking again. Let's get Mendez clicking again. Let's try and get some other guys, various guys to eat, to get activated, to get lit up, because you're going to need all of these guys firing down the stretch. I've seen so many teams in this league, Tony, pad their stats in games like this, get named MASL Offensive Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week, Special Teams Player of the Week, everything Player of the Week for hammering a team like Texas. And then I've seen the Sockers, play to a 9-3 game. Like, no, let's go ahead and throw down an ugly score, make it hard on you and me to announce the third and fourth quarters. Send us into Mount Rushmore talks and, like random stuff.
Let's go.
I want to see that. If this game is close, I'm going to be disappointed. I'll try to hide it on the air, but I'll be disappointed if this game is close in any way, because that'll be a sign of inattention. And all the Sockers need to do is show up with discipline and focus on Friday, and they will annihilate Texas.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for growth in a lot of different ways. And these are the games where you get to be experimental. If you're Phil and you have an idea of maybe wanting to have a different look with these pieces that you have, this is the game to do it. And really, you should be able to win regardless of which Sockers player is out there. If you're part of the San Diego Sockers and you're out there against the Texas Outlaws, you better win. I can throw Xavier and defense, and the Sockers should still probably win that game. And at the end of the day, I really hope X does get that start as well. I do believe he's earned that at the very least, with that performance here at home and stepping up in that big moment. You need more of that. You need the players to work that muscle and not lose it, and have that just be able to go to that well whenever called upon. But if you're never called upon, not just X, just everybody else, if you're never in that moment to begin with, you're going to run out of luck, because the Sockers have had situations where, okay, we'll just throw it, hope what happens is the best, and it does work out. Hey, it worked out. We adapted mid-game, and they got the victory. You shouldn't have those moments. You should be prepared. You should be ready to go. If you have moments where you need to adapt, guess what? You have a bench full of guys that's ready to go to do whatever it is that you need them to do, and they will get the victory in convincing fashion, because this is the San Diego Sockers way.
Absolutely. Do I think the Sockers will win by 10? No. Phil just doesn't do it that way. He'll get up 8-0 and be like, pass the ball. But I think they should. I think they kind of need to. And it would be, more than anything, it would be a great night to rotate lineup It would be a great night to rotate set piece. It would be a great night to rotate power play. It would be a great night to rotate goal, to keep this team fresh, to give it more optionality moving forward. Put all the veterans on the floor on Wednesday night and Friday night. Let a rotated lineup play and see if some hungry guys. Let Juancho play up front. Let Salazar eat up front. There's all sorts of things you could do that would actually be fun to look at. And I'd like to see that on Friday night. So let's go get a hard-fought win, see the offense come together on Wednesday. And then Friday, let it be a celebration, let it just be kind of a romp. And if that happens, 6 points in the bag, super, super, super successful week for the San Diego Sockers. All right, 75 minutes, 70 of which I heard. Pretty good.
Love it. Love that. I mean, we made it happen. It's a new year, but you know what? Still being able to put it together. Let's not the Sockers not take a lesson from us tonight.
Yeah, no kidding.
Get ready to go.
Show up a little cleaner. Show up a little cleaner than I did. Okay. Walking in here, dropping my earbuds on the floor and then running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Where are they? Where are they? I can't find them. Yeah. You almost stepped on him, idiot. Oh, well, that's it for tonight. Special thanks to Tavoy Morgan. Really appreciate it. Special thanks to each and every one of you who asked for this show to be back, who pleaded with management to help bring it back, who cajoled them to allow it to happen. We do this show because of you guys. If you hadn't asked for it, we wouldn't be here 100%. We'd be elsewhere. So thank you so much. It's a true pleasure to connect to the Sockers community and to the indoor community at large. Tony, you guys are kicking ass at San Diego Punto Football. San Diego FC is underway. Training camp is happening. Wave are making gigantic trades. How can everyone follow this incredibly growing San Diego soccer universe with you?
Well, thank you so much. And again, we're appreciative of everybody who's tuning in, who's found us here. San Diego Punto Football is the name of the game. San Diego.futbol. La Casa del Fútbol in San Diego. I mean, if we could make this the everything go-to soccer place in San Diego, I'm very happy with that. And let's go ahead and do it. Thank you, Sockers, for making this happen. Thank you for the listeners. Craig?
You can follow me on Blue Sky at 619 Sports. You can follow me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life, where you'll see photos of me, often my dog, as well. I still have an account on Facebook. My IG links to it, but I mean, occasionally you can message me on there, but it's pretty hit and miss in terms of whether you're going to find me or not. Okay, you will hear us tomorrow, and you can see us tomorrow on the CBS Sports Golazo Network, available for free on Pluto TV, available on the Paramount Plus app as well, and the CBS Sports app as well for free. So if you don't have a Paramount Plus subscription, you can watch it on Pluto TV. You can watch it on CBS Sports. Hope to see you Wednesday and Friday night on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. And then right back here next Tuesday at 6. For Tavoy and Tony, I'm Craig. Thanks so much for being here for Season 7, Episode 2 of Soccer's Overtime. And go Sockers.